February 26, 1995, London. Inside the offices of Barings Bank, the phones are ringing and nobody is answering them. Senior executives stare at spreadsheets they do not understand. Numbers that should not exist. A hidden account. 88888. It has swallowed £827 million, twice everything the bank owns. The bank is already dead. It just hasn't been told yet. Barings is not just any bank. It is the oldest merchant bank in Britain, founded in 1762. It has survived the Napoleonic Wars, 2 World Wars, and the Great Depression. The Queen of England holds a personal account there. It has stood for 233 years. It will not survive this morning. And the man who destroyed it is not a rival bank, not a foreign government, not a financial crisis. He is a 28-year-old from a council estate in Watford, a plasterer's son, a boy who failed his maths exam. He is currently on the run across Southeast Asia. He left a note on his desk 2 days ago. 2 words: "I'm sorry." By noon, the Bank of England will attempt an emergency bailout. It will fail. Barings Bank, 233 years of history, will be sold for the price of a cup of coffee. How does one man with no authority, no genius, and no plan destroy Britain's oldest bank in a single afternoon? And what was he running from? The bank or himself? February 25, 1967, Watford, Hertfordshire. A council estate on the northwest edge of London. Rows of identical houses, worn front gardens. A street where the television runs on coins and the walls are thin enough to hear the neighbors argue. Nicholas William Leeson is born here. His father is a self-employed plasterer. His mother is a nurse. Money is always tight. Never desperate, but always tight. Nick attends Parmiter's school in Garston. His maths teacher considers him weak. He fails his final maths examination. He leaves school in 1985 with 6 O-levels and 2 A-levels. No degree, no connections, no plan. But Nick Leeson has one thing the boys on his street do not. He refuses to stay where he is born. At 18, he walks into Coutts, the private bank that holds the Queen's own accounts, and talks his way into a job as a clerk. He settles paper checks. He credits accounts. He files forms. The lowest possible position in one of the most prestigious institutions in England. In 1987, he moves to Morgan Stanley. In 1989, he joins Barings Bank on a salary of £12,000 a year. The men running Barings have been to Oxford and Cambridge. Their fathers banked here before them. Nick Leeson grew up watching a rented television that took coins. He is not supposed to be in this world, and he knows it. That knowledge will drive him to places no one can follow, and no one can save him from. How does a clerk from a Watford council estate end up controlling the trading floor of Britain's most powerful bank? And what does a man do when London is too small to contain his ambition? April 1992, Singapore. Barings Bank decides to open a new futures and options trading office on the Singapore International Monetary Exchange, SIMEX. They need someone to run it, someone hungry, someone who will not complain about 14-hour days in equatorial heat. They choose Nick Leeson. He is 25 years old. A plasterer's son from a Watford council estate, is now the general manager of an international trading floor in one of the most powerful financial cities in Asia. He has a 3-bedroom furnished apartment in a fashionable neighborhood, a live-in maid, an unlimited expense account. His salary is £50,000 a year. His bonus will be £130,000. He marries Lisa Sims, a fellow Barings employee he met in Jakarta. They are young, untouchable, and rich in a city that rewards exactly that. And then he starts trading. In 1993, Nick Leeson's trades generate £10 million in profit for Barings Bank, 10% of the bank's entire global profit, from one 25-year-old in Singapore. London stops asking questions. Why audit a man making you rich? His bosses call him nearly infallible, a genius, the star of Singapore. He is invited to parties he was never meant to attend. He is photographed at events with men whose fathers went to Eton. The bars along Boat Quay, Leeson is the man everyone wants beside them. Loud, generous, fearless. He is once arrested and fined for drunkenly dropping his trousers and mooning a group of flight attendants. He is banned from the Singapore Cricket Club for brawling. He comes to work hungover, vomiting in the bathroom before opening trades. London hears nothing. To London, Nick Leeson is perfect. But there is something London does not know, something that has been sitting quietly in the background since July 1992. A secret account, a number chosen for luck, 88888. In Chinese numerology, 8 is the luckiest number. 5 eighths is fortune beyond measure. Nick Leeson is about to find out what fortune really costs. What starts as a £20,000 mistake hidden in a back-office account will grow into the greatest financial disaster in British banking history. How does a man watch numbers climb and stay silent? July 1992. It starts with someone else's mistake. A junior trader on Leeson's team is assigned to buy 20 futures contracts for a client called Fuji Bank. She sells them instead. A simple error. It costs £20,000. Nick Leeson does not want to report it. Not because he is greedy, not yet, but because he has built a reputation for perfection. His bosses in London call him infallible. He cannot be fallible. Not now. Not over £20,000. So he does something that every trading floor has the tools to do. He opens an error account, a temporary holding account used to park small mistakes. He assigns it the number 88,888. He hides the £20,000 inside it. He tells himself he will fix it later. He does not fix it. More losses come. A trader who arrives to work still drunk from the night before. Bad positions. Small errors compounding into larger ones. Leeson covers them all with 88,888. Each time, he tells himself it is temporary. Each time, he bets bigger to win it back. Traders call this strategy doubling down. Every time you lose, you bet twice as much to recover. It works, until it doesn't. By the end of 1992, account 88888 holds £2 million in hidden losses. By late 1993, £23 million. By the end of 1994, £208 million. £208 million hidden in a single account, and London has no idea. Barings Bank has made one catastrophic structural error. They have allowed Leeson to hold two jobs simultaneously, head trader and the person responsible for checking and settling his own trades. These roles exist specifically to be separate. The separation is the safeguard. Without it, one man can hide anything. Nick Leeson can hide everything. To keep the losses concealed, he begins fabricating stories. He tells London he needs more cash for margin calls, routine requests from exchanges for funds to cover open positions. His reputation is so golden that London wires the money. Every time, without question. He once clears a £6 million hole in 1993 through sheer luck. He celebrates. He vows never to use account 88888 again. 3 weeks later, he uses it again. The losses are a living thing now. They grow whether he trades or not. By December 1994, account 88888 holds £208 million. Barings Bank has £350 million in total available capital. Nick Leeson has secretly destroyed more than half of everything the bank owns. And nobody, not one person in London, has noticed. Then comes January 1995. And an earthquake in Japan that nobody predicted. £208 million hidden, zero suspicion from London. It should be impossible. But for Leeson, the hardest part is not what's already happened. It's what comes next, and the 20 seconds that will end everything. January 16, 1995. Night. Nick Leeson makes one final attempt to pull everything back. He places what traders call a short straddle, a bet that the Japanese stock market, the Nikkei, will not move significantly overnight. The Japanese economy has been slowly recovering from a 30-month recession. Stability seems certain. The bet is reasonable. He goes to sleep. At 5:46 a.m. on January 17, 1995, the ground beneath Kobe, Japan, tears apart. The Great Hanshin Earthquake. Magnitude 6.9. It lasts 20 seconds. 6,434 people are killed. Entire city blocks collapse before the sun rises. Later that morning, in his Singapore office, Nick Leeson watches the Nikkei index begin to fall, then fall faster, then collapse. His bet that the market would stay still is catastrophically wrong. In a single morning, 20 seconds of earthquake have destroyed what took him 3 years to conceal. The losses in account 88888 explode past anything he can calculate. He cannot stop now. If he stops, everything is exposed. So he does the only thing a cornered man can do. He bets more. Over the following 5 weeks, Leeson buys over 20,000 futures contracts, each worth approximately $180,000, betting that the Nikkei will recover. He is trying to move the entire Japanese stock market through sheer volume, a $7 billion position. One man, one desk, one secret account. Japanese traders watch the buying with confusion. One Tokyo executive later says he assumed Barings must have a hedge somewhere else, that no single trader could be this exposed. Nobody suspects a man acting alone is trying to save a 233-year-old bank with someone else's money. The market does not recover. February 23, 1995. 2 days before his 28th birthday, Nick Leeson sits at his desk in Singapore and does the maths for the last time. The losses have reached £827 million. Barings has £350 million in capital. The bank cannot survive. It is already dead. He opens his desk drawer. He finds a piece of paper. He writes 2 words. "I'm sorry." He places it on his desk. He stands up. He walks out. He does not look back. He has just destroyed the bank that financed the Napoleonic Wars. £827 million gone. 1,200 jobs gone. And Nick Leeson is walking toward a departure gate. Where does the most wanted man in British financial history run? And how long before the world catches up? February 23, 1995. Singapore's Changi Airport. Nick Leeson and his wife Lisa board a flight to Kota Kinabalu, a luxury resort on the Malaysian island of Borneo. He is supposedly celebrating his upcoming 28th birthday. He books the ticket under his own name. Back in London, a settlements clerk at Barings discovers account 88888. He calls his supervisor. The supervisor calls the board. The board calls the Bank of England. The Bank of England spends the weekend attempting a bailout. It fails. February 26, 1995. Barings Bank is declared insolvent. Britain's oldest merchant bank, founded in 1762, trusted by queens and emperors, is dead by Sunday morning. It is sold to Dutch financial group ING for the symbolic price of £1. £1. For 233 years of history. 1,200 Barings employees lose their jobs overnight. Investors, ordinary people who trusted this institution with savings, with retirement funds, with futures, watch everything disappear. And in a hotel room in Malaysia, Nick Leeson picks up a newspaper from a gift shop shelf. The headline stops him cold. He reads it standing in the lobby. He later says he had known this moment was coming for months. Knowing it did not make it easier to see in print. He flees to Thailand, then to Frankfurt, Germany. He purchases a connecting flight to London. He uses his real passport. He wears a baseball cap pulled low. He is on the front page of every newspaper in the world. German police are waiting at the gate when he lands. March 2nd, 1995. Nick Leeson is arrested at Frankfurt Airport. He is 28 years old. His empire lasted exactly 3 years. He faces extradition to Singapore, not England, not home. Singapore, where a conviction means Changi Prison, the same prison where executions happen behind closed walls. What happens when the world's most notorious rogue trader is handed to a system with no mercy for financial criminals? November 20th, 1995, Singapore. Nick Leeson is extradited. He pleads guilty to 2 charges: forging documents and deceiving the Singapore Exchange. District Judge Richard Magnus looks at him across the courtroom and delivers a sentence in language usually reserved for the very worst of men. 6.5 years. Changi Prison, one of the most feared correctional facilities in Southeast Asia. Maximum security, rife with organized criminal gangs, a place men enter and come out permanently changed, if they come out at all. Nick Leeson enters it alone. His wife, Lisa, who had taken a job as a flight attendant so she could travel to visit him in custody, eventually discovers he has been unfaithful with other women during their marriage. She divorces him in prison. He loses his bank, his freedom, his wife. And then comes the diagnosis that makes everything else feel small. Within months of arriving at Changi, Nick Leeson is diagnosed with colon cancer. His weight collapses. His hair falls out from chemotherapy. Prison doctors give him a grim prognosis. He later says he believes the cancer was the physical result of years of stress, carrying a secret that could have killed him long before the earthquake ever struck. He fights it, alone, in a maximum security prison in Singapore, without his wife, without his freedom, against a disease that does not care who you used to be. He survives. July 3rd, 1999. Nick Leeson walks out of Changi Prison, 4 years and 4 months served. Released early for good behavior and medical grounds. He is 32 years old. He steps into Singapore sunlight for the first time as a free man and takes stock of everything he owns. No job, no wife, no home, no money. The high life has been swept completely away. Most men who destroy institutions of that magnitude disappear quietly into obscurity. They find a small town, a new name, a smaller life. Nick Leeson does something that nobody, not one person at Barings, not the Bank of England, not the judge who sentenced him, could have predicted. He goes back to school. At 32, homeless, broke, and recovering from cancer, Nick Leeson enrolls at Middlesex University. He earns a degree in psychology. He writes an autobiography, Rogue Trader, How I Brought Down Barings Bank and Shook the Financial World. It becomes a bestseller. In 1999, it is adapted into a Hollywood film starring Ewan McGregor. He marries again, Leona Tormé, an Irish beautician. They move to Galway, Ireland. He has a child. He builds a quiet life in a city where nobody particularly cares who he used to be. And then the calls start coming. Banks, investment firms, financial institutions, risk management conferences. They all want the same thing. They want Nick Leeson to stand in front of their people and explain, in precise detail, exactly how he did it. How one man, with no authority, hid £827 million from the world's oldest merchant bank for 3 years. He charges up to $20,000 per speech. He is booked months in advance. The man who destroyed Barings now earns his living teaching banks how not to become Barings. The Bank of England rewrote its regulations after 1995. Singapore rewrote its entire futures trading law. The global financial industry restructured its oversight systems. The Barings collapse became the case study taught in every business school on earth for the next 3 decades. All of it because of account 88888, because of a £20,000 mistake that a young man from a council estate in Watford was too proud to admit. Barings Bank had survived Napoleon. It had survived 2 world wars, the Great Depression, the fall of empires and the rise of them. It had stood for 233 years because it was built on the trust of people who believed that institutions are stronger than individuals. Nick Leeson proved them wrong. Not through genius, not through malice, not through some master plan drawn up in a back room. Through pride. Through one small mistake, one decision not to admit it, and 3 years of silence that grew into something nobody could control. The most dangerous man in the room is not the one who wants to destroy everything. It is the one who is simply too afraid to say he made a mistake. Today, Barings Bank does not exist. The building where it stood in London is occupied by someone else. The Queen banks elsewhere. 1,200 people who came to work on February 27, 1995, never came back to that building again. And Nick Leeson, the plasterer's son who failed his maths exam, who was told he was a weak student, who walked into the Queen's own bank at 18 with nothing but nerve, is alive, healthy, comfortable, in Galway, Ireland, with a family and a career built on the wreckage of the greatest financial disaster a single individual has ever caused. He didn't outsmart the system, he exposed it. And what the system revealed was this: it was never as strong as it believed itself to be. 1 man, 1 account, 5 lucky 8s. That was all it took. Not bad for a boy whose teacher said he was weak at numbers.